Hello guys, my name is Khan, and actually in today's video I will show you guys that how you can do data manipulation in Power BI. So in my first video I've shown you guys that how you can construct dashboards over in Power BI, but in order to build good dashboard, you need to manipulate data. You may need to create new variables. You may need to clean your data set first in order to reach at a stage where you will be able to create dashboards in Power BI. So in order to do data manipulation in Power BI, for this video I have created a hypothetical data set for you guys. This is a CSV file, a comma separated file. If I open it for you guys, so as you can see that I have created I'm using a very small data set for you guys for this video, because I have selected a very small data set so that if I do any manipulation, you're able to see how it impacted my data more clearly. So this is a hypothetical data about car. So we have a bit few variables about what is the car make, what are the prices of the car, mileage, REP 78, headroom, the car is made domestically or in a foreign country, and the date they launched. So this is a hypothetical data. So first I have to import this this CSV file into Power BI. So in order to do that, first I have to run. I have already installed Power BI in my laptop, as I have shown you guys how you can install Power BI in my first video. In order to run Power BI, so I will go to this search tab button and I will write down Power BI. So as you can see that it's showing me that I have installed Power BI desktop. So I will just double click it, and so this is the window that will appear when you will launch Power BI. So before, as I said before, that once you launch Power BI, in order to do anything or in order to make graphs or make dashboard, you need to import data set first. So, but another thing to import here is another thing not here is that we have, if you want to see what's new going in Power BI, there is an option here. There are forums which are very helpful. If you want to share any issue or if you're facing any problem, you can go to these forums and can ask your questions. So now what I will do, I will import a data sets into Power BI on which I will like to make graph. So I can go to my get data, and Power BI actually is running a query, and my data set is in a text format. So I will tell Power BI that the data is in the text format. So I will click it, and then I will say connect. And now you can see that this is the folder where my data is located. So I will just click it and then open it. So now Power BI, I'm building a connection with the folder, with the file that I have stored. So this is the data which you can see is the same as in my CSV file. So, and I want to import it. So there, if you go down here, there are three options: load, edit, and if you don't like to import, actually I like to import, but there is a load option which will directly take this data to Power BI. But if you use this edit option, so it will allow you to manipulate data first. So suppose if I say edit option, so it will take you to a window where it will show you that this is your data, and this is the data name, and these are the variables available within this data. And in this window you can edit your data sets. So before going to start, suppose if you randomly select any variable. So if I select price, and if I right click it, there are different options available to edit that variable. So suppose if I want to rename this variable, so if I go down, there is a rename option, and I can call it price of car. And as you can see, the edits that you will do in your data, the Power BI will keep some keeps on making notes that what kind of changes you have made on this data, and it keeps on saving those changes in the back end. So suppose if you open this Power BI file again that you will save in later, you don't have to repeat all these steps again. The Power BI will automatically do all those steps which requires data manipulation automatically in the backend. So as you can see that I have edited the price of the car, and if I go here, there is also a date variable. So suppose if you want to see that what is the type of this date variable, actually in Power BI or any other tools that deals with data, they save each variable into a certain kind of form. So maybe a string form or numeric form or date form. So then it will be easy for Power BI to run different kind of functions over it. So it's better to make sure that that the variables are properly in a proper type. So if I select this date variable, and if I in my home tab, if you see that Power BI is telling me that this date is a date type is date, that this variable is date. But suppose if I select this foreign variable, now the Power BI is telling me that this foreign variable data type is text, so it's capturing text. So on this variable, we cannot do mathematical operations because it's a string variable or a text variable. Whereas if I select this headroom variable, you can see that this headroom variable data type is decimal number. It means that we can do mathematical operations over this variable. Sometimes, especially with the dates, when you import data sets from different formats into Power BI will not automatically detect that is it a date variable or not. So maybe it gives it a text. Consider it as a text. So in order to change, you just have to select that variable. You just have to click that down arrow and you can select the data type according to your need. But fortunately, in this dataset, Power BI have automatically decided that it's a date variable, which is right. So we don't need to change anything. So I will close it down. So in this, so currently now I have just renamed the variable. And suppose I also want to create a variable which will capture the month of this date column. So suppose if I want to create an extra variable in my data set which will show the month in which month for each observation. So what I will do, I will just click this variable, and then I will go to add column, and within the add column, so suppose if I go to transform, there will be an option which is related to that I can add a column related to the date, the month, or so if I go to, as you can see in my transform column, there is a option here, date and time column. So if I select this down arrow, and in this down arrow, you can see that I have different options available, which allows you to add different variables. Suppose if I go to my month option and if I select this month, and you can see that Power BI have added a column which is capturing the month of that variable. So you can see that now I have this month variable. Now it's showing me that if this is a month, this is the 10th month, the second month, all the months are captured in that column now. So suppose you have done these changes and suppose you have to do something else and you don't want to keep on working on this thing. So what you can do, you can go to file, you can go to home, you can say close and apply all the changes that you have done. So you will do it. So now what Power BI is doing is applying all the steps that you have done on your data set. And you can see now Power BI have uploaded all the variables here. Now you are ready to make graphs. But suppose you want to finish all your work till here because you want to continue in latest suppose tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So what you can do, you can go here, you can save it, and you can suppose if I'm naming it as testing file. So if I will call it testing. and then I will just save it. And after that, if I close it, so everything is done. Power BI has saved your file, and if I close it, and now I'm back to my folder. Power BI is no longer running. But suppose after an hour or after a week you want to work again on this on Power BI again. But during that time, suppose someone have updated this data set. This author, suppose your colleague was also working on that data set, and now in that folder you have an updated file. So suppose if I go down and suppose your colleague have entered you copied the same rows again. So now we have this observations repeating again 4 times, and this time the data set is updated. So now if I run this, if I run my Power BI file that I have just saved, the thing that will happen is that Power BI will automatically update the data too. So suppose I save it, and now if I go back to my folder, this is the file that I have just saved, which contains all the steps that I have done over my data set. So if I select enter it, so Power BI is uploading my file, and not only it will upload all the steps, it also retrieve all the variables on which I have all the variables on which I have done manipulation. So now you can see that all the variables are there. But suppose if I want to go and like to edit my dataset again, so if you go to this form, there is a edit query. You can select edit query, and you can go back to from where you started, and now you are again ready to manipulate your data. But important thing to note here is that now as I have edited my data set, and now if I go back, you can see that now Power BI is showing me updated data set, not the data set that we have used before. So this is a very good feature of Power BI, is that it will upload your data set with the new data set, not the old data set that you are working on. So if you keep on updating your data set, the Power BI will keeps on adjusting your changes according to new data set. So suppose now if I want to delete these duplicates, so if you select that variable, and if I do right click, so under that you have an option which is remove duplicates. So if I just simply click it, you can see now that now I have only one observation related to this make. All the 3 extra makes are deleted. So if I go here, you can see that now we have only this observation. Power BI have deleted these 3 observations for us. So because these are the exact duplicates within this make. So this is one of the ways. So we have done a manipulation in terms of removing the duplicate. But the important thing to note here is that again, whatever changes that I am making, Power BI is making a note that I have done this kind of data steps or data manipulation over my data set. So whenever I will reuse this file, we don't need to do these steps again. And again, an important thing to note here is that under the name, actually this is about what is the data structure name. You can even rename this, rename the data table too. But for me, it's fine. I will not change it. But if you want, Power BI will allow you to change even the data structure name. And now I will show you guys a very important feature about that most of the time you will be using is the split function. Sometimes you will need to split your data set into different columns. So in order to do that, I will suggest that suppose I want to split this variable, and I want that whenever there is a space appearing, I want that the data should be shown in 2 columns. So suppose I want that the first part of the make will be in 1 column, and the second part of the of the column. Second part of the make is should be in the separate column. In order to do that, so it's always better to not to not to do this kind of manipulation on your original variable. It's better to make a duplicate. So suppose if I select the variable, right click it, you can see that there is an option which is related to duplicate. So I can select that option, and now you can see that I have make copy variable and my original variables is also there. So now I will do some operation on this variable that I have just duplicated. So what I will do, so suppose now I want to split it. So again, I will select this variable and I will right click it. And when I will right click it, there is an option related to split. So if I go down, as you can see, there is a split option here, and in the split option we have different options that based on which we want to split the column. So the most important option is that I think is the by delimiter, and you can tell what is the point based on which you want to separate your columns. So you can see that there are some options which are built in Power BI, colon, comma, equal sign, semicolon, space, tab, but even you can use custom delimiter too. So suppose if you want to delimit based on if there is one appearing or two, but for me I will be saying the space, and I want to say that whenever so each occurrence of delimiter, so whenever there is a space appear, the Power BI will split the column. So if I say OK, so if you see now that Power BI have splitted the column into 3 columns because there are observation when spaces are appearing 2 times. So Power BI has splitted the font in the first column, the second part, the grand in the second column, and the pricks in the third column. So this is the way you can split your data sets, split your variables into different columns. You can play more with this split option, and it's a very useful option that you can use in Power BI. Now I will show you guys that there is a very important function. If you look at this variable, there is a down arrow appearing here. So suppose if I click this down arrow, there are options which are available. You can even sort your dataset based on ascending and descending order. You can remove the empty observation. You can filter your dataset. Suppose if you want to run your analysis, because suppose you imported your dataset and there are observations which you don't want to use in your analysis. Suppose if you want to run your, if you want to construct your dashboard or analysis just on domestic cars, so you don't have to use those foreign observations, then you can uncheck those foreign observations and then click OK. And now whatever you will do will be based on the domestic cars only. So you can apply filters directly here when you are running your query in Power BI, and you can also add filters when you will be making dashboards. So it's up to you at which stage you want to add filter. And again, before ending all this, I will go to home. I will tell Power BI that okay, close and apply all the changes I have made. All the changes that I have made, Power BI have noted in this window in applied tab. So if I will go here and say close and apply all the changes. So as you can see, Power BI is applying all my changes that I have done on that data set. And now you can see that all the variables are also get updated based on the changes that I have applied. So this is a short video about how you can manipulate data in Power BI. In my later videos, I will tell you guys more about data manipulation, data visualization in Power BI. Thank you for watching the video.